Wow. Tony, welcome to the Marketing Your Practice show. So here we are again after a couple of technical glitches to begin with. Who would have thought, hey, the world of the internet?
Can happen, hey. Well, happens to everyone, happens to the best of us. But again, it's how we get back up and reconnect, isn't it? So great to be here.
Smile and start again might be something to do about the third world internet that we actually have here in Australia as well. So a big welcome to all of you that are jumping on in today. If you're happening to be watching the show live, then pop on in, say g'day, tell us where you're from, let us know who you are there, and if you're on before and got cut off, then a big apology from us as well. So last week on our live on the Marketing Your Practice show, Tony and I spent the live talking all about an email list and why it was important for you to start to build an email list. We talked about the difference between owned and rented media or owned and rented traffic, that when we can email our patients when we want, how we want, then it allows us to better communicate with them. If we're leaving all our communications only up to social media, now obviously we want to be using social media, it's what we're using now, we love it as well, but social media is rented traffic, somebody else is in control of it as well. So the flip side of that is this, is that if I'm going to be emailing my patients regularly, if I'm going to be sending them to videos and blog posts, newsletters and creating content with them, the question is where do I come up with all my ideas for these videos, Angus? So, you know, I've heard, my good friend Scotty Wells has just jumped on. Hello, Scott. G'day, buddy.
Scotty.
Great to see you. So all the way from Arizona. So you and I need to talk, Scott. So thanks for jumping on. So where do I come up with all these ideas for content? So Tony and I are going to talk you through a process through here, a 4-step process that'll have you be able to come up with a year's worth of content in 90 minutes or less. And we've done this in our live workshops time and time again. So we know that if you follow these steps here, you will absolutely be able to, get this content up and done. So Tony, you want to kind of talk through, first before we start on the 4 steps, what are the principles? What is our content? What should it be doing?
Well, the content is, we always talk about it. It's got to be helping people. It's got to be solving problems. It's got to be taking people on a journey that is actually helping people. So, this is not content ideas for just filling up a space on a Facebook page or a blog page. This is actually helpful, cool and helpful, as we say, information to solve people's problems. And that's the framework that we've got to be playing this game with.
Because remember, gang, in terms of that framework, such a good word, because the ideas of promotional marketing it's gone, it's finished. If you're expecting as a service business for you to just put an offer out there that says half price adjustment, decrease initial consultation, if you're expecting that to flood your practice with new patients, then you're going to be frustrated with the results that you're getting. So we need to start to go to a value-based content marketing, where, as Tony said beforehand, what our content is doing is it's delivering value to our audience, it's solving problems as well. So if we're doing that, if that's the umbrella, because that's what ultimately will build trust and value and authority and expertise. And trust me, when you have a community of people that hold you in high regard, that trust what you have to say, that you've made a difference to their life, you'll never ever want for new business ever again. So yes, social media, I want to show you guys how to play the long game, but I want to touch on that for a moment, because it's only a long game at the beginning, because once you get that big flywheel spinning, I was kind of thinking about this the other day, Tony, it's a long game, but yeah, it's only long once you start. Once you get that game up and spinning and that momentum is going, man, whilst it takes a bit of effort to get started, it's like a locomotive. Trying to get it to stop too is also a real challenge. So we're going to talk about that today. So step number 1, Tone, what is it?
Step number 1 is to know your audience and to really get to know them. And this is built on 2 factors. One, you've chosen these people. These are people that you want to have coming in, and more of them. And it's based on 2 things. One is that you actually get good results with these people. You feel that the care that you're providing them is of huge value and they get great results. They love coming to see you. And the second thing is that you actually like dealing with these people. So not only do you get great results, you like them in your practice. You would like to have a full practice of these type of people. And we need to get to know these people really, really well. And we talk through, some processes or some questions that you need to ask to find out more information. We need to know where they hang out, what their profession is. Do they have kids? Do they not have kids? What are they looking for? What are they hoping for? What are their dreams? What are they fearful of or maybe scared of? What are some of the barriers that stop them coming in to see you or to see a practitioner? Getting to know these people is going to be the foundation for all our content moving forward. And it's going to make every step, the next 3 steps that we go through, easier and easier and easier. So getting to know these people and, how do you go about doing that? Well, one thing is to ask them. We've all probably got, hopefully, some of these people in our office. You could ask them and question these people, or get your team to question them. You could get together with your team. You could brainstorm all this information to get really inside their head and to get to know them better than you know your own mother.
And that concept,
so that's step 1.
Yeah, that concept of, what are their greatest fears and frustrations? What are their barriers and uncertainties? What is it about their presenting health condition? What is it stopping them from doing? What are they, because we want to get rid of our aches and pains or our health challenges so we can start doing something. Is our back pain stopping us from playing golf? I often tell the story of the woman that came to me who had 10 years of back pain. And then if it had been just getting rid of the pain, she would have been in 10 years earlier. What it was for her is that the pain had got to the stage that she was no longer able to walk with her husband. So, where that would come up is in the content that we're creating. If I happen to just say a statement that said something like this: hey, listen, if you're suffering with lower back pain, if it's preventing you from walking, if you're not able to exercise, then stick around, because in today's video, I'm going to go through my 3 favorite exercises and also talk to you about the one natural supplement that'll help you decrease your pain without you having to take medications. Now, that talks to this person because their back pain is stopping them from exercising. So when we start to understand this person and really get to know them, then content ideas are almost endless. Literally, if you're having challenges coming up with content, if you're having difficulty when reaching out to your audience, it almost always starts with us really not knowing our audience, which is why Tony and I talk about that constantly as well. So once you know your audience and you go, okay, I'm going to start to really identify their fears and their frustrations, the next thing I want you to kind of think about is a simple before and after process. So let's just say that you said, look, you know what, for this next 90 days, the content that we're creating is going to be all about helping people with headaches. So I want you to imagine a patient that comes in to see you in their before state. So their before state here is they've got headaches, neck problem, they're not sleeping through the night, or they're waking with a headache from there too. Their productivity is going down, they're exhausted, they're cranky with their kids, they're cranky with their partner. You just imagine what their life is like. And then you want to go right over onto the after side here. So with the after side now, this person has no headaches. Their freedom in their body is great. Their energy is through the roof. Life has never felt better. Now, this is where you need to put your doctor hat on. This is where you want to think, what are all the steps? If someone was sitting knee to me and they were going to do everything that I told them to do, and they were a completely open book, what would I tell them to do? What are all the steps to get from the unhappy, unhealthy state all the way over here to the happy, healthy state? So if you're just jumping on and joining us now, gang, first a big welcome. Please jump in and say hi to us. Let us know where you're from, and a big hello. We're talking today all about coming up with content, and we're kind of on to step 2, which is this idea of the before and after. And how would you coach somebody through that? What are the things that we all have our patients when they are sitting knee to knee to us, we talk this. Imagine the imaginary thing. If I was talking to a headache person, and as I do there too, then, I want to talk to them about hydration. How much water are they drinking? Are they drinking too much coffee? Are they overloading on sugar? Are there other foods that could be, triggering things? I want to focus very much on head posture. So I'm going to go through desk setup. I'm going to go through sleeping postures. I'm going to go through normal standing postures. I'm going to show them through neck exercises. I'm going to show them through stress management. Now, through there, I've just come up with 8 or 10 different ideas of videos, and we'll talk about this more in a moment when we go through the frameworks. But imagine that you're sitting down knee to knee with somebody and you wanted to vomit out everything that you knew, do your best doctor conversation with this person. What are all the things that you would share with them to go through that? So, Tone, anything else you'd add to that?
I think it's a great point, mate, because there is a bit of a disconnect, isn't there, when we put our practitioner hat on and we imagine just one person sitting in front of us. We've got all this knowledge comes, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as we put the concept to practitioners that you're going to put together some videos to put it out into your community, something happens. we get this disconnect. So I think that's a great point to visualize it. This is just for one person, and it's for this person that you want to have coming in because they're going to resonate with you because you're attracting these type of people. So yeah, it's a great point. And as you said, you've just come up with a whole 12-week program all on headaches there in about 30 seconds.
Now,
so
you have a neat way into step 3. You have a neat way of kind of breaking these up into frameworks as well. So we've got a before and afters, and then if you check them off in these different frameworks through here, why don't you share those?
Well, it's not rocket science, is it? We can break down our health and our from the practitioner's point of view, our recipes for intervention, is for a word, is just to break it down in all the categories that we do. And you've just given great examples of them. It's what we're eating, it's how we're moving, it's our thinking, it's our sleeping, and then it's some things specific to our profession. And so if we just break it down into those categories of eat, move, think, sleep, and then chiropractic or naturopathy, whatever it is at your profession, we can come up with bucket loads of content. We look at it and go, okay, let's look at eating. So diet. What do people need to eat more of? And in this case, with the headaches, what do headache people maybe need to consume more of? And then what do they need to consume less of? And it might be some content on more hydration. It might be more water-dense foods. It might be less, as you said, coffee. It might be less toxic, less processed foods. It's not rocket science, but here we've already come up with 5, 6, 7 content pieces within the umbrella of eating. And so, and we then move on to the next one and go, okay, how do we move? What do they need to do more of? Do they need to move by doing certain stretches differently? Do they need to move and do certain things less than what they've been doing that might have been triggering their headaches? And we just work through each of those pillars to come up with a handful of pieces of content for each one of them. And then all of a sudden, we've got 6, 12 months of content ready and raring to go.
I think it's important to remember here is, when I think about eating, particularly as, with the philosophy that I have as a chiropractor there too, is there's a healthy way to eat. There's not really a headache diet or a low back pain diet or an asthma diet. Not the way that I look at things, and maybe you could be different from there too. But it's how we relate it constantly back. Often when the class that I taught last week, we went through this example of, if somebody is a Sunday afternoon lying on the couch with the flu, headaches, backaches, neck aches, fevers, and they went down to get some pain relief down at the local pharmacy, chemist, supermarket, and they're heading down the aisle and they reach out to grab the Panadol. And then they see, oh, hang on, no, there's Panadol back and neck pain. I'll get that. And then as they reach out to that, finally they see Panadol flu back and neck pain. Now, they're going to choose the Panadol flu back and neck pain because that looks like it's designed exactly for them. It's the same stuff that's in all 3 products. But when we relate it to somebody, one of the really important laws of marketing is that we want to buy products that look like they're specifically designed for us. We want to buy specific things. We always want to be looking for an expert. So when we're linking things back, and maybe, we've talked about headaches and a little bit of hydration to add it in there. But, if I was talking about those kind of ideas, I would link it to inflammation and the impact that inflammation has on the body's ability to perceive pain, for it to heal, for it to repair, all those kind of things there too. So you might be saying to yourself, well, hang on, Angus, there is a diet that I give and not a headache diet. Just link it back to that all the time. So, Tony did such a great point of it. What do I need to eat more of, less of? What do I need to move more of, less of? And you can put in that movement one there too. I often put postural-based stuff, sitting, sleeping, standing, kind of postural-based kind of things in there too. Stress management, rest. And as Tony said, if you come up with 3 or 4 bits of content inside of each of those, and then you do that for headaches, and then you do that for lower back pain, and then you might do that for raising a healthy drug-free family, then all of a sudden, you've got these 90-day blocks of content, and then you just run it through that different lens each time, and different people will hear it in very different ways as well. So that third pillar in terms of how we come up with content is really those frameworks of eat, move, and think. And then, Tony, into the fourth thing we want to be thinking about with our content?
Well, the fourth thing is to make sure that we keep the content in the right proportion. And what I mean by that is that most of the content that we're putting out into the community is about them. It's about solving people's problems. But we also need to really work with this social media platforms particularly, but to give some authentic me. I want to put out some content that's about me, about my passion, about my want to serve, or about my life in general, about me as a parent. But we've got to get that proportion right. So it's about 80-20. We want about 80% of our content going out about them and 20% about us. And so when we're putting that out in various forms, videos, blogs, written, whatever it is, it needs to keep in mind that proportion, 80-20 rule.
Remember when we started off this session, we said we want an army of people in our community who know, like, and trust us. Now, part of knowing, liking, and trusting somebody is I want to, nowadays, the hierarchy that sits between patient and practitioner is really starting to even itself out. We used to have this time where the doctor was the god, and there certainly was some specialists as well, but it's not what people are looking for nowadays. In fact, one of the number one reasons why people move away from and choose a different health practitioner is because of that personality clash that happens there. I want to know and like and trust Tony as Tony, not just Tony as the chiropractor as well. So part of that means this is I need to see a little bit of behind the scenes of Tony. I don't want Tony just teaching me great how-to content all the time, but I want Tony to share a little bit about him, and maybe that is just a short video that he puts together of him going for a walk with the dog, playing with the kids in the park on the weekend. The staff all coming together. Can we see a bit of behind the scenes of what's going on? Hey, we're building a new room out the back here. Those kind of things there that make me feel like I'm lifting up the curtain and seeing what's going on behind there too. So 80% of your content needs to be good quality. I'm making your life better. It's information and content about them. 20% of your content, just about you. These are, one of the gals whose stuff that we really like to follow. She calls them life streams. So, they're all about your life and sharing what's going on the inside. And of course, you can keep some stuff private, but getting people to see a little bit of you is a really powerful strategy to have more people know, like, and trust you. So, Tone, give us a summary. We want to come up with a bunch of content. We're going to sit down with our staff, pens and paper. I think this too, and we actually didn't kind of really talk about this, trying to come up with content one piece at a time is also really difficult. You'll get an idea and then you have to come back and start again. But once we warm this process up, we get our brain really thinking about this person. And it's not too much of an exaggeration for you to feel like you need to fall in love with your ideal patient. Like you need to your focus should be on caring for them, on making, like your obsession should be about that. Which is why when you get together with your staff and you really focus on that's exactly what you're going to be doing, the ideas will just start to flow. But if it's, Tony, what's our video this week? Next week. Now, Tony and I have all of this content planned out. We're now in week 3 of our 12-week cycle. So our next 9 weeks are already planned out. We don't have to think about what we're going to be talking about each week. We get a bit of a flow through this, so there's a journey that makes it better for you as the viewer as well to kind of help you as you're moving forward. So, Tone, give us a summary of these 4 points to help people come up with a year's worth of content.
Yeah, so the 4 points again, getting back to it. One is to get to know your audience. Get to know them really, really well as you know your own mother. And then this will make the rest of the process a whole stack easier. Second point is to go and look at this before and after. Look at someone who is, the sad person who's got this problem that they want solved, and then to look at the after and how they are and who they are when you've solved their problem. And then we're going to put all this through the framework of eating, moving, thinking, sleeping, and your profession-specific information, wrapped up in a framework of the 80-20 rule. So 80% is about them, 20% is about us. And gang, if you can't come up with 52 pieces of content, then you're not really thinking about this enough. You're not knowing them, and one of these steps is breaking down. So you should have years worth of content to go forward and be being cool and helpful and really helping people so that they can then think you are the trusted advisor, and they will end up doing business with you.
So just to tap on, because we didn't actually give an example of what profession-specific content might be, and it might be just something like, what to look for when you're choosing a naturopath. Is a chiropractic adjustment safe? How often should I be adjusted? Is it okay for kids to get adjusted? What's that cracking sound? So these are all things or videos that you could make that are profession-specific, examples of that as well. So, get some time together with your staff, block, book, and write your content out there too. And even if you're not going to be putting together 12 months of content, but as we do here, at the very least, the next 90 days of content as well. So that's it from us today. Gang, for those of you that have been on here with us live, it was great. Wayne popped your head in before from New Zealand to say hi. So Wayne, a big hi to you, and Scott for dropping in as well. So Tone, until next time, hope you enjoy the rest of your week up there in Younger as well. Young?
Just Young will do.
Young.
I know how.
Yeah,
All good.
Yeah, great, gang. Team, keep saving lives. We appreciate all that you do on a daily basis as well. Love you lots. See you next week. Cheerio.
See you, gang.